Hello IP6. This is lesson 3 of chapter 5, also called lesson 108. First, we're going to go and check the homework from lesson 107. Okay, so in the last lesson, I asked you to do this page, workbook page 100. In section A, we needed to write the sentences and add commas where you needed to. So number 1, today most countries design, comma, print, comma, and issue stamps. Number 2, collectors like to study, comma, to mount, comma, and to trade stamps. Number 3, they mount stamps in books, comma, in display cases, comma, or on posters. Number 4, condition, comma, age, comma, and popularity determine a stamp's value. And number 5, stamps that are used, comma, torn, comma, or stained are less valuable. So you've got 5 questions there, 1 point per question, no half points. Give yourselves a score out of 5. In section B, there were 5 missing commas. Many people enjoy collecting stamps, comma, baseball cards, comma, and model cars. All people, this comma was already here, young people, comma, and people in every country collect stamps. Franklin D. Roosevelt, comma, King George V, comma, and other famous people were stamp collectors, and there's nothing more to add in that last sentence. Please check your answers and give a score out of 5. Okay, in lesson 2, we talked about using commas in a series. This is lesson 3, and we're going to talk about more uses for commas. So other ways that we can use commas. So, when we start a sentence with the words yes, no, or well, these are called introductory words, and you use a comma after an introductory word. So, yes, I like going to football games. No, I'm not interested in cricket. Well, rugby is fun to watch. You use a comma after the introductory words yes, no, and well. Now, at the start of the year, we talked about making compound sentences using the coordinating conjunction words and, or but. Now, when you make a compound sentence, you place a comma before the conjunction. So a comma goes before and, or but. So, infant dogs are called puppies, comma, and infant cats are called kittens. I enjoy eating pizza, comma, but I can't stand seafood pizza. You can do your English work first, comma, or you can do your math first. So we use commas before coordinating conjunctions. As well, at the beginning of the year, we talked about writing complex sentences using subordinating conjunctions like although, while, whereas, before, unless, because, whenever. We talked about using those subordinating conjunctions to make complex sentences. Now, there's 2 ways you can use subordinating conjunctions. You could just write the conjunction in the middle of the complex sentence to join 2 sentences together. So, Otto reads old books because he finds them interesting. And if you put the subordinating conjunction in the middle of the sentence, you don't need a comma. But if you put the subordinating conjunction at the beginning of the sentence, then you use a comma to separate the 2 sentences that you have joined together. So, because he finds them interesting, comma, Otto reads old books. One more example. Pote likes going to the beach whenever it is sunny. We've got the subordinating conjunction whenever. So that joins the sentences Pote likes going to the beach and it is sunny, and you don't need a comma. But if I put that subordinating conjunction at the start, whenever it is sunny, comma, Pote likes going to the beach. Now, this is something that we've not done before. An appositive is a word or a group of words that identifies or explains the word or words that it comes after, that it follows. And you use commas to separate an appositive from the rest of the sentence. So, cheetahs, the fastest land animal, are a species of cat. The fastest land animal is an appositive describing the word cheetahs. I could just say cheetahs are a species of cat, but I'm using the appositive, the fastest land animal, to give more information about cheetahs, and so I need to separate that appositive with commas. So we've got a comma before the appositive and after. The next one, the fourth planet from the Sun, Mars, is the second smallest planet in the solar system. Mars is an appositive describing the fourth planet from the Sun. I could just say the fourth planet from the Sun is the second smallest planet in the solar system, but because I'm using Mars to describe the fourth planet from the Sun, I need to separate it with commas. So these are called appositives. And just a few other things that you've probably seen before. When you are talking to someone directly and you use their name, that is called a noun indirect address, and you use commas to separate the noun indirect address from the rest of the sentence. So, Tam, have you finished your homework? I'm speaking to Tam. His name is at the start of the sentence. I use a comma to separate it. If I say to Sky, bring me your book, Sky, Sky comes at the end of the sentence, so I use a comma before his name. And if I say to Nene, did you, Nene, check your work, I would put a comma before and after her name. So we use commas to separate nouns indirect address from the rest of the sentence. Also worth noting, you can use introductory words and nouns indirect address in the same sentence. So I could say to Son, yes, Son, you need to answer all of the questions. Yes is an introductory word with a comma after it, and we also make sure that the name Son is separated with a comma before and a comma after. Okay, please get your textbook and open it to page 247 and look at questions 1 to 7. I want you to read these sentences and add commas where you need to add commas. So look at the first one. Class, who invented the first workable steamboat? You need to find where the commas belong. Do the same for questions 1 to 7. Now, if you don't have your textbook at home, like you did in lesson 107, please pause the video and write these sentences on paper, adding commas. Okay, so when I tell you to pause the video, please pause it, and then you can press play to see the answers when you have finished. So please pause the video now. Okay, have you finished up to question 7? If you are finished, keep watching for the answers. Okay, number 1, class, comma, who invented the first workable steamboat? That one's a little bit tricky because it's a noun indirect address, but it's not a person's name. I could use the noun class to speak directly to the class. Number 2, yes, comma, it was Robert Fulton. You need a comma after the introductory word yes. Number 3, he was a well-known portrait painter, comma, but he became more and more interested in engineering. So you need a comma before but, because this is a compound sentence. Number 4, he ran his first steamboat on the Seine, comma, a river in France. A river in France is an appositive describing Seine, so that's why you need a comma here. Number 5, no, comma, that was not the only boat Fulton built. You need a comma after the introductory word no. Number 6, the Clermont, comma, another steamboat, comma, travelled the Hudson River. So this another steamboat is an appositive describing Clermont, and so needs to be within commas. And number 7, when you visited New Orleans, comma, did you see a steamboat Quan? This is a complex sentence. So again, you need a comma after New Orleans and before the question, did you? Okay, so give yourselves a score out of 7. Okay, now I want you to look at questions 8 to 14. So these continue on page 247, and then they're also at the top of the next page on page 248. So I want you to do all 7 of these questions. Again, read the sentence, add commas where you need to. And again, if you don't have your textbook, please pause the video and write on paper. So please pause now. Okay, if you have finished questions 8 to 14, continue watching for the answers. Okay, number 8, Paul, comma, how many parts does an insect's body have? Number 9, well, comma, there are 3 main sections, comma, Mr. Jensen. Number 10, some insects help humans, comma, but others are very harmful. Number 11, the honeybee, comma, a stinging insect, comma, makes honey. Number 12, because mosquitoes are blood-sucking insects, comma, they carry disease. Number 13, Valerie, comma, are there other insects with wings? And number 14, yes, comma, Mr. Jensen, comma, moths and flies have wings. Okay, so we just did 7 questions. Give yourselves a score out of 7. Okay, that is the end of this lesson. Your homework tonight is workbook page 104. So please make sure you finish workbook page 104 before you watch the next lesson I give you on Tuesday. Very quickly, before we finish, I'm just going to explain workbook page 104. Okay, this is workbook page 104. If you have your workbook, you can do it in the workbook. If you do not have your workbook, on the e-learning platform, you should see a file that says IP6, IPE, EXER108, more commas. That is a photograph of the workbook page, and you can copy these answers onto paper. Okay, section A is a little bit more tricky than the textbook questions we've just done. You need to add the commas where they are needed, but you also need to identify if the comma is being used in a compound sentence, to separate an appositive from the rest of the sentence, to separate an introductory word from the rest of the sentence, or to separate a direct address from the rest of the sentence. So write the comma on the sentence, and then on this line, write either compound sentence, appositive, introductory word, or direct address. Section B is a bit easier. Read the paragraph, and there are 5 missing commas. So you don't need to worry about these proofreading marks, just add the 5 missing commas. Okay, IP6, that is the end of this lesson. So please make sure that workbook page is finished by Tuesday. And until then, thank you IP6. Bye-bye.